What's the most you've ever paid for a cup of coffee? $5, maybe $10 for a fancy latte? Well, get ready, because we're about to dive into a world where a single cup can cost more than your weekly groceries. Today, we're on a quest to find the world's most expensive coffee. Let's start with a name you might have heard whispered in specialty coffee shops, kopi luwak. This coffee is famous, or maybe infamous, for its unique production method. It's made from coffee cherries that have been eaten and passed through the digestive system of an animal called the Asian palm civet. Yeah, you heard that right. The enzymes in the civet's stomach are said to break down the proteins in the coffee beans, resulting in a smoother, less acidic brew. A cup of authentic, wild-sourced kopi luwak can set you back anywhere from $35 to $100. The price tag is high because finding wild civet droppings is incredibly labor-intensive. However, the popularity of kopi luwak has led to some serious ethical concerns. The high demand created a market for caged civets, often kept in terrible conditions, and force-fed coffee cherries. This not only raises animal welfare issues, but also affects the quality. A stressed, unhealthy civet doesn't produce the same quality beans as a wild one, with a varied diet. So, while it's one of the most expensive, it comes with a lot of controversy. Moving on from the civets, let's travel to the mountains of Thailand. Here, we find black ivory coffee. If you thought kopi luwak was wild, hold on to your mugs. Black ivory coffee is made using a similar process, but instead of civets, it involves elephants. The coffee cherries are mixed into a fruit mash and fed to elephants at a special sanctuary. After about 15 to 70 hours, the beans are recovered from the elephant's dung, washed, and dried. It's described as having notes of chocolate, malt, and a hint of cherry, without any burnt or bitter taste. Producing this coffee is incredibly difficult. It takes about 33 kilograms of raw coffee cherries to produce just 1 kilogram of finished black ivory coffee. A portion of the sales goes toward the care of the elephants, which adds a positive conservation angle to its story. But what if animal digestion isn't your thing? Don't worry, there are other ultra-expensive coffees that don't involve a trip through an animal's gut. Let's head to Central America, specifically to the highlands of Panama. This is home to the legendary geisha coffee, particularly from the Hacienda La Esmeralda estate. It's often described as being more like a fine wine or a complex perfume than a typical coffee. The plants are notoriously finicky to grow, yielding a much smaller harvest than other coffee varieties. In recent years, auction prices have shattered records, with some lots selling for over $2,500 per pound. The price reflects its incredible rarity, unparalleled flavor, and the meticulous care taken in its cultivation and processing. So far, we've seen that rarity, unique processing, and exceptional flavor are the key drivers of high coffee prices. But there's another factor: location, location, location. Let's take a trip to a tiny, remote island in the South Atlantic Ocean. St. Helena. Yes, the same island where Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled. The island's isolation and pristine environment, free from pests and diseases, allow the green-tipped bourbon Arabica beans to grow in perfect conditions. St. Helena coffee is known for its delicate floral and citrus notes, with a distinct caramel-like sweetness. It's a coffee with a rich history and a flavor profile that transports you to a remote paradise. Now, let's circle back to where we started, in a way. Well, science is catching up. Researchers and coffee innovators are now trying to replicate these natural processes in a lab. One such coffee is called Ospina. The Ospina family has been growing coffee in the mountains of Colombia for 5 generations. Their premier brand, the Ospina Dynasty Grand Calf, is aged for a year in special barrels, a process they say enhances its complexity and smoothness. A pound of these beans can cost around $750. They combine history, tradition, and a secret aging process to create a truly luxurious coffee experience. So, we've explored coffee that's passed through animals, coffee that grows on remote islands, and coffee that has won prestigious awards. We've seen prices from $50 a cup to several $1,000s a pound. What truly makes a coffee the most expensive? It's a combination of factors. Rarity is a huge one. Whether it's a tiny harvest from a remote island or the difficulty of a production process, scarcity drives up the price. Then there's the story. A coffee that has been eaten by an elephant or was a favorite of Napoleon has a certain mystique that people are willing to pay for. And of course, there's the taste. These aren't your average morning brews. They offer complex, unique flavor profiles that are the result of specific plant varietals, unique terroirs, and meticulous processing methods. But is it worth it? That's the million-dollar question, or, in this case, the $100 cup question. For most of us, a $100 cup of coffee is an unimaginable luxury. For coffee connoisseurs and industry professionals, however, it's a chance to taste the absolute pinnacle of what coffee can be. It's about experiencing a piece of art, a product of incredible dedication and unique circumstances. It's also important to remember the people behind the coffee. In many cases, these high prices support small-scale farmers, fund conservation efforts, and promote sustainable practices in the coffee industry. When you buy a bag of geisha from a specific farm, you're directly supporting the community that grew it. So while the price might seem outrageous, there's often a lot more to it than just a fancy drink. It's a story of nature, science, history, and human passion, all captured in a single, extraordinary cup. So, what's the ultimate verdict on the most expensive coffee? It's not a single, simple answer. At any given moment, a new auction record could be set, or a new, even more bizarre processing method could be discovered. But for now, special lots of Panama geisha at auction hold the crown for the highest price ever paid per pound. But whether it's geisha, black ivory, or Kopai luwak, these coffees push the boundaries of what we think coffee can be. They challenge us to think about where our food comes from and the incredible journey it takes to get to our cup. Would you ever try one of these ultra-expensive coffees? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this caffeinated adventure. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time. Please remember to subscribe.